In the brutal podcast system, any jackass with a microphone and internet connection can pose as an expert on any topic under the sun. Fortunately, however, there exists a humble duo of said jackasses who at least aspire to minimize the effects of the current egregious level of aforementioned fake-ass horseshit and those who perpetrate it. This duo attempts this very noble task by allowing you, the listener, to have total unimpeded access to the real minutia of their pathetic everyday lives. This two-member task force is known deep within the podcast world as Zero Front. These are their stories.
Welcome into another edition of Zero Front. I'm Sean. I'm your host. Today I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Bruce Springsteen's playing in Philadelphia. Like last year, he was supposed to play in Philadelphia 2 shows, but I think it was the weather or I think his health. He had to cancel the shows or postpone them, but he's playing 2 shows in Philly. I'm not going to the shows. I've been thinking a lot about going. But I saw him 5 times last year, and that was a lot of times to see him last year. I got to save some money. You know what I mean? As much as I love to see Bruce, he's the boss. He's like one of my favorite artists, besides the Killers. It's just one of those things where I got to be a little bit tighter with money these days. But the weather is nice. I'm really happy for the people going because the weather is really nice and worked out. So they're gonna have a great time. He's been switching up the set list lately, so. But I did something cool yesterday. I went to casting for the new Happy Gilmore Adam Sandler movie. Most of you probably have seen the first Happy Gilmore. It was Adam Sandler movie from the 90s where he plays a hockey player who turns to golf because someone sees him hit like a really far golf shot. And then people start telling him like, you should play golf. The story goes, it's just like this degenerate guy, this goofy guy, and he becomes a golf player. He's pretty successful. And the movie's really funny. It has a lot of funny scenes like Chubbs, his friend Chubbs, Shooter McGavin, his rival. But they're casting for Happy Gilmore 2, the second one. It's a Netflix movie. They're casting it in New Jersey. So I had some time. I had some time this week, so I I went. I kind of got lucky, I think, because casting was 1 to 8. And apparently people were waiting for over 4 hours. Like the line went outside the Hyatt Hotel in Morristown. It stretched like down the block. Um, I was originally going to try to get there at 1 o'clock, but I'm glad I didn't. Uh, I ended up um I ended up getting there around 6 o'clock. And I jumped online in the hotel. I got there, I was all like, damn, like, because I thought it was going to be a hotel where there's a big parking lot, but it was like Morristown's like a little city. So it's like I was driving in a real congested city with a lot of people, a lot of cars. And I ended up parking at the hotel. Um, and it was a parking garage. And one of the last times I was at a parking garage, it was actually at a Springsteen concert. It was last year. And I got into a car accident in the parking garage. It was a real tight space. A lot of cars. It was like a really older parking garage, and my car got like crushed against the corner, and that kind of sucked. But anyway, that's just a parking garage thing. But just get back to Happy Gilmore. Um, got there, got online. They were giving out like cards and saying you could just apply online, but they told some people to leave, but they didn't tell me to leave. So I was like, oh, that's a good sign because I wore my New York Knicks, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson shirt. Um, the three guys in we almost call them the Villanova Knicks and the New York Knicks, but now they have Mikal Bridges. So actually that shirt's kind of old. There's 4 of the guys from Villanova now, but I was wearing that because I'm like, oh, it's local. They're looking for locals, New Jersey locals. I'll put on my Knicks shirt. Um, I think Sandler is a Knicks fan. So I was like, oh, maybe this can help. You know what I mean? But I brought business cards. I brought business cards for the show for Zero Front, and I brought business cards with me. And I got to the front, finally got up to this ballroom. It's a really long line of people waiting, people wearing like Happy Gilmore jerseys, people bringing their golf clubs. People are really trying to stand out, I guess. Even though just for an extra in a movie, it's non-speaking parts. It's just the opportunity to be in like an Adam Sandler movie is really cool. Um, but I got to the front and like right as I gave my application, it said like, do you have any special skills? So I put like special skills like host a podcast, took an acting class in college. And then I gave her my business card for the show and she stapled it to my thing. So then they took a picture of me, but hopefully like that business card for the show can like somehow get me selected or help me get selected. I'm not sure. They're filming all over New Jersey. The filming starts in September. So hopefully I'll be available, but it will be a great experience to be in an Adam Sandler movie. Like it would be cool as hell. Um, I don't know if the pay is that much for extras, but you're on set. I think they have food on set. You get to talk to a lot of people. Filming's like 12 to 14 hours, but um, it just could be a cool experience. You know what I mean? So hopefully that works out and somehow I could be in Happy Gilmore too. So that'd be pretty cool. Then I saw something recently that I wanted to talk about. Um, my favorite band, The Killers, played in a bunch of shows in London. And while this was going on, England was in the Euro soccer tournament, Euro 2024. And I guess the concert was going on at the same time the Euros was on. And I guess they coordinated where they would play Mr. Brightside and shoot out confetti if England wins. So they put the England game on the big screen for like the last 2 minutes of the game. And England had just gone up 2-1, so they were winning. And then they won the game. And as soon as the game was over, because they started playing Mr. Killer started playing Mr. Brightside. And the confetti went off. This is a really cool moment because imagine being from England, being at that concert, seeing the Killers, and where Mr. Brightside has been in the top 100 charts for I think over 8 years straight. And then your country wins, a really big game. I think it was the semifinals. And then all of a sudden the Killers, you're at a Killers concert and they play Mr. Brightside live. This is a really cool moment. There's a lot of footage of it online. I forgot to talk about it last show, but I thought that was really cool. Um, then some other stuff has been going on. The Democratic National Convention. Um, whether you're a Democrat or Republican and independent, it's still interesting to watch these things. You know what I mean? To hear what the people have to say, see what their plan is, and see how they're going to get the crowd motivated. See if what they're going to do for the undecided voters. I saw Barack Obama, former president, speak last night, and Michelle Obama. I thought their speeches were excellent. I thought they had excellent speeches. Obama's one of the greatest speakers ever. The guy's just, I know they have speechwriters and stuff and they have some help, but it's still impressive. But I thought both speeches were really good. And I thought it was really funny how he made a joke about, how Trump's obsessed with crowd sizes and he did like the Trump hand gesture. I thought that was pretty funny. But I'm more of like an independent. I'm like fiscally conservative, but social issues I lean with the Democratic side. Then with the environmental issues and stuff. So it's one of those things. I mean, politics is just it's very divisive right now. It causes a lot of fights throughout, with people, families and friends, and divides people. I just want our country to be united and everyone to, I want things to be good. I want the people to be happy. I want the economy to be good. I want people to be getting along. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. A lot of wars around the world with Israel and Ukraine, and Israel and Palestine. Um, and then America is always at the center of things because, countries want our help financially. Countries want us to help out, military wise, equipment wise. So, America's still, you know, around the world, we're still viewed as a real powerhouse. So I think the election's important. I hope we elect the right person this election. Um, you know, but I don't want to get too much into politics, but it's just something that, obviously you can't avoid politics. It's everywhere. Um, but yeah, some things, I noticed lately, kind of switch topics, abruptly, but, um, when I go to a fast food drive-through, um, if you're waiting in the fast food drive-through, like you're waiting to order your food, you're about to like go up to the speaker in the menu and someone doesn't pull forward. I was there I was at a McDonald's last week. Um, and the person on the person who worked at the McDonald's was like, what do you want? What's your order? And I started speaking. They said they couldn't hear me, but I couldn't pull forward because the person in front of me wouldn't pull forward. There was a line of cars, but they had a little bit of room to move forward, and they didn't move forward. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're on a fast food line, try to move forward as much as possible because the people behind you have to like make their order. Um, they can't take your order unless I guess you're really in front of the speaker and they can hear you fully. But so that was kind of one of my pet peeves I wanted to talk about. Then I saw a cool thing. In China, they have an unhappy leave. You could take a leave from your work. Um, you could take an unhappy leave. And if you're not happy, you don't have to come to work. So I think that's really cool. I think America should adopt that, to be honest with you. Like if you're not happy, just don't come to work. You know what I mean? But obviously that's probably never going to happen. But I thought that was really cool when I saw it. It's like, not like you want to take advantage of it and like not go to work all the time, but when you're unhappy, like you just don't have to go to work. So that's pretty cool. I went to a couple concerts recently. Um, Went to a Green Day concert at Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia. That was a really good time. They played the entire album of American Idiot, and they were going to play. They played the entire album of Dookie, Dookie too. Dookie's from 1994. It's got songs like "When I Come Around" and "Basket Case." I thought it was really good, but it started raining. And I was in the pit, and there was like mosh pits and stuff, and I started not to feel very good at all. Like I was just like, I don't know how, I'm not feeling very good. There's tons of mosh pits. I just want to like watch the music. So now I know next time I see Green Day, like maybe I won't go in the pit because there's like tons of mosh pits and people being real aggressive. Like compared to like a Killers concert, even like a Muse concert and Foo Fighters concert, you know what I mean? I think there's just more aggressive, like mosh pit type, fans at Green Day concerts, which is fine. It's their own style. But I saw the Smashing Pumpkins open up. They were excellent. I saw them last year too. But I left a little bit early. Um, Left a little bit early. I still saw Green Day play around 24 songs. I saw pretty much the whole Smashing Pumpkins set list. It was a really good concert though. Then I went to a 30 Seconds to Mars concert last week, and that was really good. I really like a lot of their music. Um, they've had like three really good albums. The recent stuff isn't as good, but they still played like a bunch of their classic songs. Um, like their one song that a lot of people know, it's called "The Kill." That was really good. One of my favorite songs is "Night of the Hunter." I didn't know if they're going to play that song, but they ended up playing "Night of the Hunter." So, and AFI opened for 30 Seconds to Mars, and I saw AFI one other time in Philadelphia. They were excellent. Um, I thought AFI, had a really good set list. They played around 13 songs. They played one of my favorite songs called "The Conductor." So I was happy with that. But I thought the 30 Seconds to Mars concert was good. I mean, um, sometimes they get some, criticism for not being that great live or not, Jared Leto, the singer, they said he doesn't sing as much anymore, but I thought he was singing enough. And it's a band where like the crowd does they let the crowd do a lot of singing. So it's kind of like a different type of experience, but I had a really good time. I recommend, their concerts, for sure. But I guess going back to politics, what I noticed about a lot of late night shows is they spend a lot of time talking about politics. Whereas like when I Brian, I wasn't really that into Letterman. I just never really got into him. I watched him occasionally if there's a certain guest on like Howard Stern. Um, But what I noticed growing up, I don't know if they did as many politics. It was more like funny jokes. You know what I mean? It was like the monologue was more full of like current events and like not everything was politics. But these days on late night shows, there seems to be a ton of politics. It seems like the whole monologue is all politics. And like, I don't know. I wish they would do more non-politics. You know what I mean? Like they could do some politics, of course, because it's like that, a lot of people are focused on politics and who's the president, who's running for president and stuff. And obviously making fun of Trump is low hanging fruit. It's easy to make fun of Trump. It's extremely easy. Um, but I just think there's too many politics on late night shows. My favorite late night show is Jimmy Kimmel Live. I love Jimmy Kimmel Live. I love Guillermo. I love all the things they do in the show, all the bits they do. Um, but there's just a lot of politics. You know what I mean? Because I know Jimmy Kimmel's a real funny guy. I think and he spends a lot of time with his writers, and he talked about it in Howard Stern, like how he spends a lot of time writing the monologue. I think he writes almost the whole monologue. He gets some jokes from his writers, but he writes a lot of it. I think he's got more talent to like write non-politics stuff. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. I'm still getting used to doing the show without Joe. So I'm just talking by myself and I'm still trying to get in the rhythm of things. The episode that I did by myself, the first episode that I did by myself like a month ago, the ratings are like actually really good. So I thank everyone for listening. So please tell your friends to like and subscribe the show. Follow on social media. All the links are in the bio. Um, and I'm just really happy. You know, I do miss Joe, obviously, but Joe had to do his own thing. Joe had to go off and live his life, and you know, the show wasn't really something that he wanted to do long term. So you know, but yeah, it's kind of it's kind of weird for me talking by myself without having Joe to like ask him a question or you know do some producing behind the scenes and get some topics lined up and stuff. It is. You'll probably notice that I'm still getting used to talking by myself. But yeah, I'm still gonna do the show and I'm still really enjoying it. I have no plans on stopping doing the show. Um, but yeah, I saw a couple. Oh, something I want to say at the 30 Seconds to Mars concert. I was in Camden, New Jersey, and there was some Eagles chants. There was some Eagles Eagles chants. I thought that was pretty cool. Before the bands came on, in between the sets, there's some Eagles chants. So thought that was pretty cool. Um, One thing that I read recently, they did a study and they say people who spend money on experiences like going to concerts and going on vacations are a lot more happy, are a lot happier than people who spend money on material items. Um and I think that's true. You know what I mean? Like I think it's true. I'd rather, I'd rather go to a bunch of concerts and like do a lot of fun things with friends and experiences than like own like really fancy things like a Lamborghini. Like even if I had the money, like I don't think I'd want to buy a Lamborghini. It's like everywhere you go, you park it, like you know what I mean? There's danger of like it's just like it's just an expensive item. Like how it's probably really expensive. The parts are probably really expensive and stuff. Is I just don't get that flex of having like a Lamborghini and those type of cars. Um, I'm very happy driving my Honda. It's a great car, but it's one of those things. I do believe, experiences are better than material items. I definitely agree with that. But I saw a very disappointing story in the news recently. Um, I believe a guy's wife, they were at Disney World, and the guy's wife died. She was eating at a restaurant. I think it was like she was allergic to certain food. I think that was the story. And she died, but now they can't sue Disney because apparently the husband, he signed up for Disney Plus a couple of years ago. And in Disney Plus, when you sign up for Disney Plus, obviously there's all this small print. You just kind of accept all. You don't really, no one really reads any of it. And that's what's kind of unfair about it, that they know people don't really read that. Um, but they still have these clauses in there where like if you die at like one of their theme parks, you can't sue them. But then there's other parts of the story where they're trying to say like they're eating at a restaurant. Disney owned the building and they're eating at a restaurant. It wasn't really part of Disney World, but Disney still owned the building. But I just don't like the idea that someone can't sue somebody because they sign up for a streaming service and they had no idea that there was a clause in there that you can't sue. I think that's very unjust. So I don't like that. Um, then I was reading a funny, interesting thing recently. Um, this guy's roommate really smelled. The guy just really smelled bad. Um, and he worked at like a department store. And I guess people at the department store know he didn't smell good. And he told the guy, he's like, I got promoted to the fragrance department. They promoted the guy to the fragrance department. It was kind of like they knew he didn't smell good, so they're telling him to go to the cologne department. I thought that was kind of funny. You know what I mean? If it's true that like they actually, promoted him, to the fragrance department because he smelled. Stories like that. That's what Reddit, Reddit. Reddit. It's a really like good site and app. It's got a lot. If you're looking for like specific answers to questions or information about anything, you can just do a Google search and type in the word Reddit next to it, and they'll bring you to Reddit threads. And there's all sorts of information. It's really cool. Um, and then one thing that's kind of like I noticed recently, a lot of like places are doing, especially Wendy's. They're doing these things where they have saucy nuggets. You're basically paying extra for chicken nuggets just so the nuggets come out full of sauce, covered in sauce. But you're paying extra, and like you could do that on your own. Like, you know what I mean? You could put sauce in a bag and shake it up and have your own saucy nuggets. I don't understand why it's a thing. I really don't get it. It's like, you know, just because they're extra saucy. You know, it's it's one of those things I don't really get it. I don't get fast food places always have to think of things how to like attract people to their places, but I don't know. Saucy nuggets to me just ain't it. I don't like it. I think it's a waste of money. Um, you can put the sauce on yourself, and how much sauce do you really need? You know what I mean? I understand boneless wings come out and they're extra saucy, but that's boneless wings. It's a whole different way. It's not like chicken nuggets, you know? Um, and then I saw something crazy recently. I think it was from a Yankees Red Sox game. A Red Sox fan, this lady got mad at a Yankees fan and she literally grabbed him by the nuts. She grabbed him by the balls. Um, and the funny part was he got kicked out of the game, I think, and she didn't. That's definitely an assault. You know what I mean? Just grabbing a guy by the balls in anger. You know what I mean? Um, so I guess that brings me to my lyrics, even though the lyrics have nothing to do with that specific incident. But the lyrics this week are by the Gaslight Anthem. They're a local band. They're a New Jersey band. I think they're pretty local. I'm pretty sure. Um, and the lyrics are from a song called "Get Hurt" from the 2014 album. The album's called "Get Hurt." The lyrics are, "And I came to get hurt. Might as well do your worst to me. Hey, hey, have you come here to get hurt? Have you come to take away from me, from me, from me? Might as well do your worst for me." And I think it's about like when people in your life hurt you and they say mean things to you. It's like, is that all you've come to do to me? Is come to hurt me? You just come to talk shit. You've come to like just bust my balls and like not in a fun way, but a real negative way. Um, so it's one of those things, you know. But I chose those lyrics because I really like that song. It's a really good song. Um, and I like the Gaslight Anthem. I've seen them live. I saw them in PNC Arts Center in Homedale. I think it was 2022, but they're a good band. I think they're actually playing at this year's See Here Now Asbury Park Festival. But um, I like that song. It's just one of those things. It's like when, I came here. It's like as all I've done is, have I just come here to get hurt? Like, sometimes you leave places and you're like, was that even a good time? And like someone just said something mean to you. A couple people said something mean to you, or you're in like a bad environment, and like, was that, did I just go there just to be fucked with? So I think those are good lyrics. Um, but yeah, I want to do a couple movie reviews. I saw a lot of movies recently. One of the movies I saw was Trap, M. Night Shyamalan movie. It was about a guy who goes to a concert with his daughter, but the entire concert was set up because they're looking for a serial killer. They don't know who it is, but they know he's going to the concert. He's going to be at that concert. It's kind of like a pop artist. It's like someone that they went to like a Ariana Grande concert or a Taylor Swift pop concert. And the whole concert was set up as a trap to trap the serial killer and arrest him. So Josh Hartnett was in it. Hartnett, he was been around for a while. I think he's a really good actor. He did a really good job in this movie. I thought the movie was good. I didn't think it was great. I give it a 6.7. I thought it was entertaining. And any M. Night Shyamalan movie um is good. Um he did that Bruce Willis movie in the 90s where the kid, I think it's Haley Joe or something like that. He says he sees dead people. Trying to think what movie that is. The Sixth Sense. Yeah, it was a really famous movie. That was like what put M. Night Shyamalan on the map though. But I thought this movie was, it was good. I think it did well in the box office for what it was, but 6.7. Then I saw another movie with Blake Lively called It Ends With Us. It's kind of a story about domestic violence and romance and a love triangle. I actually was way better than I expected. I really enjoyed it. I don't mind rom-com movies. Um, I don't mind rom-com movies and romance movies. I kind of quite enjoy them, to be honest with you. I'm not afraid to admit that. I mean, I like romantic movies. I like a good love story. But this had kind of had some darker themes, but I thought it was really good. It's based on a book. I would give It Ends With Us a probably give it a 7.7. I really enjoyed it. So that's why I recommend those movies. Trap, I think, is still in theaters, and I think It Ends With Us is still in theaters. So the two relevant movies, you can definitely go see them. Um, then I saw something, the Major League Baseball have a proposal to have all starting pitchers pitch 6 innings. No matter what, a starting pitcher in baseball has to pitch 6 innings. And I don't like that. I don't think that's a good idea. It's a bad idea. Um, I don't, think that starting pitchers, because they could blow out their arms and, the team wants to win the game. Say a starting pitcher has given up like 20 runs and you have to keep him in there because he has to pitch for 6 innings. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like baseball strategy and the manager's always making decisions. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things where you can't force a team to have their starter, stay in for 6 innings. So I don't think that's a good idea at all. Um, and then recently I had, everyone on Reddit and online was saying to try the Chick-fil-A cheese sauce. Um, it's like, I think it's melted Swiss and melted Parmesan. It kind of sounds not that great, but when you actually try it, it's really good. So I tried the Chick-fil-A cheese sauce. Um, I dipped my fries. I don't really usually get the fries. We got the fries because I got a free reward in the app. So I dipped the fries in the cheese sauce. It was pretty good. Cost about $1.60, but if they're not available, cheese sauce is not available everywhere apparently. So if you live near a Chick-fil-A and they don't have the cheese sauce, do not blame me. Not all cheese sauce has, not all Chick-fil-A's have the cheese sauce. Um, and I also saw a recently messed up story. Well, Deadpool Wolverine, that's another movie I saw. Deadpool Wolverine did really good in the box office. It's obviously a Marvel movie. It's Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I'm not a huge Marvel movie guy, but I thought it was a really good movie. I give that like a 7.1. Obviously, I think Marvel fans and real like comic geeks and stuff, not to put people down, call them geeks, but just call them, people who are geeky if they're really in the comic books. Just call it what it is. You know what I mean? It's geeky. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But anyway, some guy who really likes Hugh Jackman, I guess, he went to a movie theater with a 3 foot pillow with a picture of Hugh Jackman on it and he paid for an extra seat for his inanimate object, his 3 foot pillow of Hugh Jackman. So there's so many weird people out there doing weird things, but I guess if you're working in a movie theater and someone walks in with a life-size figure or a big pillow with a picture of the guy in the movie and buys a seat for him, obviously it's very strange, but I read about that on Reddit. Obviously, Reddit, you can read anything. There's so many different stories on Reddit. I highly recommend if you're online and just need something to entertain you and to read stuff, definitely Reddit for sure. Um, what else? Got a lot of topics. I'm just trying to save some topics for next show because I know this show, there's been a month between this show, but I want to do another show before the month's up. Um, I want to ideally do a show every 1 to 2 weeks, but sometimes life gets in the way, you know? I saw something really cool. One of my favorite, well, if not my favorite player in the NBA, Jalen Brunson, he plays for the New York Knicks. He went to Villanova. He still maintains a LinkedIn profile. He still maintains a LinkedIn profile and he puts all the professional achievements. So that's pretty cool. Not a lot of NBA players and professional athletes would actually maintain a real LinkedIn profile. So it's just really funny that, he's got a real like official LinkedIn profile and he's a professional basketball player. Um, so that's cool. I also want to talk about shout out to Elio's Pizza. Elio's Pizza to me is it might be the best frozen pizza there is. Um, it really is. It really is good frozen pizza. And you can get like, they give you like 3 sheets of the pizza. They're not big sheets. They're probably like combined. They're probably like three square slices of regular pizza, size wise. But Elio's Pizza to me is the best. I've tried so many frozen pizzas, and to me, Elio's Pizza. Also, another frozen pizza that's very good is Tree Tavern. My parents really like Tree Tavern pizza, but I think Tree Tavern pizza is a really good frozen pizza. Um, but yeah, so shout out to Elio's Pizza. And anybody who goes to the gym, I don't know if you notice when you go to the gym, sometimes people try to reserve equipment by putting their bag or something down near the equipment. What I noticed recently, it's fine if you want to use that equipment and you're putting your bag or something down near the equipment, but um, this guy recently at the gym, I was about to use an inclined bench press for chest, and this guy, um, I was about to go to the equipment. He put his bag down near the bench press, and then he disappeared. He walked away and started doing other stuff. I think he was just putting it like there's a locker room. You can put your bag in the locker room. You know what I mean? But he put his bag near this, and like I didn't know, I didn't use the equipment because I didn't want to like go up to him like, hey, can you move your bag? I didn't really want any confrontation. I really don't like confrontation, but I thought that was really like bizarre. Um, how he uh how he put his bag down. And I'm sure that happens at gyms all the time. I've seen it happen multiple times throughout I've been going to the gym since high school, you know what I mean? But I think it's kind of a douche move to like put your bag near equipment, especially if you're not using the equipment, because other people see the bag or the water bottle and they don't want to use the equipment because they assume someone else is using it. So please don't do that. You know what I mean? Please don't do that. I guess the Olympics has happened. I don't think I've done a show since the Olympics happened. I think I did a show right before the Olympics started, I think. I thought the Olympics are pretty entertaining. I thought the U.S. men's team did a good job winning the gold medal. Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, by the way, Steve Kerr had an excellent speech at the Democratic National Convention, the DNC. I thought Steve Kerr's speech was excellent. Um, you know, I thought just, he's a really good speaker. But yeah, the Olympics happened and some funny stuff happened at the Olympics. You know what I mean? People talk about the Olympic Village. Like, are they preventing them from having sex by giving them uncomfortable beds that break? But I think that rumor was squashed. Um, but yeah, the U.S. won the most gold medals, the most medals. So the USA, no matter how the countries keep trying to catch up to us, USA always wins the most medals. So we're still doing pretty damn well internationally. But I saw there was a guy, um, they called him Bob the cat catcher. If a swimmer's cat fell off in the pool and went to the bottom of the pool, this guy's only job at the Olympics was to jump in the pool and pick up the cap from the bottom of the pool. So whenever he would jump in the pool and pick up the cap from the bottom of the pool, the swimming cap, the whole crowd would cheer him on. So I thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty interesting. I don't know if anybody saw that in the news. Um, what else is going on? That's what I'm saying. Like, what not doing? I'm trying to get used to not doing the show with a co-host because I'm just kind of like rambling about different topics, and I want to talk about a lot of things, but just got to get used to doing it on my own. Then the whole thing happened recently. Matthew Perry, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. But apparently there was a lot of people around him who were really like, they were, what do they call it? They're enablers. They're helping him get the drug ketamine, and they're drugging him up with ketamine. He was just getting really. I think I never tried ketamine, but he was getting apparently really high and whatever ketamine does to you. And apparently, he did. He died in his hot tub. But there's a lot of people are going to be charged around who are around him as doctors and people around him who are supplying him with unlimited amounts of ketamine. He was spending around $50,000 per month on ketamine. So it's unfortunate. You know what I mean? He was a really talented guy, had a lot of money, had a good life, and then he had to, get addicted to ketamine and die. But it's unfortunate when the people around you enable you and they, you end up dying because people are, giving you so much drugs and just, and apparently the doctors and stuff were texting like, how much is this moron willing to pay and stuff like that. Like they're texting and talking crap about him through text message and stuff. Um, you know, so it's not good. You know what I mean? Then I saw a new TikTok trend where people are eating tadpoles, I think, or they're eating tadpoles because they think it's good for your skin. So there's always the dumbest trends on TikTok. It's like, why are you eating tadpoles? Like, where's the scientific evidence that eating tadpoles is going to be good for your skin? It really is insane. Really is insane. Then I saw something recently, El Paso. I think it's El Paso, Texas. They're banning black clothing. I'm like, what is how that's like the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. They're banning Black clothing. I love black's my favorite color to wear. So I'm obviously never going to move to El Paso, but that's true. It's ridiculous. Um, Banning black clothing. Wow, it's like that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Um, I don't know if anybody uses Hulu, but whenever I'm using Hulu, um, and then I go to use it because I use Amazon Fire Stick, so I use YouTube TV. But when I use different apps like Netflix and HBO Max and Hulu, my Hulu, it doesn't always keep my place where I was in the show. It's really annoying. It doesn't always keep my place in the show. I'll go back to watch a show because I've been watching the show The Bear recently. The Bear is a really good show. It's that dude from Shameless. His name's Jeremy something. I want to say Jeremy Allen White. I don't know why I can think of that name now. I think that's his name. His name's Jeremy something, but it's a really good show. Um, anyway, when I go back to watch different episodes, it doesn't keep my place. So if I don't finish the episode, and I go to do something else during the middle of the episode or turn off the TV, um, it doesn't keep my place. So I think Hulu needs to do a better job of trying to keep your place. It's a really multi-billion-dollar company and app, so it should be able to save your place when you're watching a friggin' show. It's ridiculous, you know. Um, what else? My parents went to a Pretender. There's a really good band called the Pretenders. But I think bands should know their audience. They should play their hits no matter if they have at least 5 hits. They should always play those 5 hits no matter what. That you can, yeah, they can mix up the set list as much as they want. But my parents went to a Pretenders show and apparently they didn't play any of their popular songs. Like Back in the Chain Gang, Message of Love, I'll Stand by You. They didn't play any of those songs. So I don't understand bands. You have to play your hits. You know what I mean? You got to play at least because sometimes people are seeing you for the first time. They want to hear those songs. You can't be, especially if it's at least 20 songs, like you have to please your audience. Even if you don't enjoy playing those songs anymore and you think you've outgrown those songs, your fans haven't. They still want to hear those songs. You know what I mean? Um, then I was listening to the Howard Stern wrap-up show recently with Gary Dell'Abate, and um there was a thing about they were talking about how it's weird for men to wear shorts. And I couldn't disagree with this more. I wear shorts all the time, especially when it's warm outside. Um, I don't understand why that's even a thing. It's weird to wear shorts. Like even going out to dinner in the summer, it's completely normal to wear shorts. Don't let anybody tell you it's not normal to wear shorts. It's very normal to wear shorts. So I don't know why that was a topic. I didn't call in. I was listening to it live, but if I was, maybe I would have called in and, spoke my mind about it. But, wearing shorts is completely normal. I don't think there's anything abnormal about wearing shorts. Um, you know what I mean? Anyway, then I saw recently this guy, Brian Nickel. He was the CEO of Chipotle. And obviously Chipotle had a lot of controversy recently for skimping on people's portions, not giving people, equal sized portions and giving them not enough food. And this guy, Brian Nickel, like he got interviewed. He was like, they're like, what's your favorite food from Chipotle? And like he act like it was almost like he didn't even know what was on Chipotle's menu. Like he doesn't really eat there at all. He's like some rich guy. But then I saw Starbucks just hired him to be their new CEO. I'm like, why are companies not giving other people a chance? Why are they recycling these CEOs? This guy's going to make over $100 million at least. And like he did a horrible job at Chipotle. Even if their revenue went up and whatever the numbers were, he just seemed like he was out of touch with the food and the customers. Why does Starbucks think they should hire this guy? It makes no sense to me at all. I just don't get it. Um, you know what I mean? It's like once these people become a CEO, they ascend to high positions in companies. They're bulletproof. If they get fired by the company or their company doesn't want them anymore, another company will hire them. It's like ridiculous. Like this guy does not deserve to be the CEO of Starbucks. It makes no sense. Um, anyway. Then I've been watching this show called The Dark Side of Comedy. It was on the Vice Network. I think it's really good. I watched an episode about this female comedian named Brett Butler. I think she was on she got her own show, the sitcom. I gotta look it up. What was the name of the sitcom she was in? I think it was, I don't know, Grace Under Fire comes to mind. I don't think that's the name. Yeah, Grace Under Fire. But she was a really big time comedian, and she came out of nowhere. Like I think she was a normal lady who got divorced, and she had a bunch of stories about divorced, and she became a stand up comedian. Then she got an offer at a sitcom, but she was on the dark side of comedy, And it's pretty crazy how people could be like really famous and really successful and rich, and then they could just drop off. They lose all their money, and they just they get sick of being famous, and then that's their whole life is different after that. But yeah, that was interesting. And she seemed like a really talented lady. But I want to read some before I end the show. I thank everyone for listening. Again, I'm still trying to get used to doing the shows alone. Um, doing the shows alone is like one of those things where it's like, um, it's you gotta just talk. You're just talking, pretty much talking into an echo chamber. You're talking to yourself. It's a monologue. But I wanted to read Joey Thurman, who's for my former co-host. He wrote a letter that he wanted me to read, and I'm out of respect for Joe, I'm going to read the letter. So here it is. Dear Zero Front listeners, it is with great sadness that I realize my resignation from Zero Front was necessary for the preservation of my emotional health. Despite being pals outside the show, Sean and I always seem to have a lot of disagreements regarding the inner workings of it. At least it seems so in my view. Although the show was always a 50-50 partnership, I humbly accepted the subordinate title of co-host because titles never really mattered to me. I always hoped the aforementioned disagreements would fade over time, but unfortunately they never did. As a result, I actually stepped away after season one, but was persuaded to return. It wasn't long into season two when I realized those same professional differences remained and actually intensified a bit. Eventually, my affection for doing the show was usurped by feelings of frustration. However, let me be perfectly clear. The disagreement Sean and I had a few weeks ago was absolutely not the sole reason for my departure. It did, however, accelerate what I believe was going to be inevitable. I thank Sean and wish him the very best in his future endeavors. As for me, having just recently turned 60 years old, I feel I need to minimize aggravation as much as possible. I currently have no plans to do other projects of this sort, but you never know. In closing, I want to thank the people who really matter most, you, the listeners. I realize that may sound corny, but I really mean it. For anyone to take the time out of their day to listen to anything we had to say warms my heart in ways you can't imagine. With your permission, I'd like to conclude the way I always have with some final words. Quote, when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Good night. So those are final words from Joe. But those are really good words from Joe. He just wanted to read a final statement. Because last show I talked about his departure from the show. Um, and that's what Joe, I want, he had a chance to say in his own words how he felt, and those were his words. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, thank everyone for listening. Trying to think if I have any more things to say. I'm going to save some stuff for next show. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. And please follow on social media, like and subscribe, and tell your friends about the show. And until next time, I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.